Member Wilmore. Member Sweet. Member Hortas. Member Hortas. Member Balanay. Member Ong. Member Yang. Member Toro. Member Zalsos. Member Kapampangan. Member Shakur. Member Sangguniang. Member Tabaliero. We have 13 members present.
Okay, having a quorum, we now proceeding to business for the day.
Next item, the agenda, approval of the agenda.
Member Ong.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve today's agenda, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there's a motion for the approval of the agenda and seconded by Member Tanya. Any addendo? Okay, Member Tanya. Senior. Member Hapagan.
Thank you for utilizing my right distinguished senior special. Your Honor, may I move for the inclusion of the following as I-13 to I-16. This is relative to the authority of the mayor to sign the contract of I-13, Abigail K. Fernando, LDA Armada. This is an omnibus so that it can be moved once and approved once. An I-14 is to sign a contract of services of Ruina, Tumanilios and others. And I-15 as to sign a contract of services of Ronnie Benji, Labrador, and others. And I-16 to sign a contract with Joanna Yusuf and others. May I move, Mr. Chair, for the approval of this motion?
Okay, there's a motion. Duly seconded by Member Pakanya and also Member Ong. Okay, amendment by inclusion. Okay, Member Pakanya. Senior yan po na, senior. Privilege, senior citizens privilege. Okay.
Then the way motion, Mr. Chair, is a resolution requesting the mayor to how to the Iligan City Cemetery Management Board facilitate the acquisition of land to establish a cemetery specifically for our Muslim brethren.
In the second motion, duly seconded by Member Pakanya and Member Yang. Amendment by inclusion. Okay, Member Pakanya. So, transfer yan. Dayayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For inclusion, Mr. Chairman, endorsement from the City Mayor's Office, MOA between the City of Iligan, represented by City Mayor Frederick W. Shaw, and the Bureau of Fire Protection for the development of an online platform for one-time assessment of business permits and concomitant onboarding of ordinary fire safety inspection fees for the county constitution advising the City Mayor to sign. Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there's a motion for inclusion. Any second? Seconded by Member Balanay and Member Ong. Amendment by inclusion.
Mr. Chairman, resolution of expressing heartfelt condolence and deepest sympathy to the bereaved family of late City Councilor Orlando Filipino, passed away and returned to the embracing arms of the Almighty and Savior on March 31, 2024, at the age of 78. So, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, this motion, it is seconded by member Timorong, and that addition. Okay, member Yang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Amendment by inclusion. Messages for the articles of the mayor will be I. That's right. I-19. A resolution favorably endorsing the implementation by the Regional Office of the Department of Public Works and Highways Region 10 for the project Cagayan or City Iligan Hinterland Road, the juncture of CDO Kibantan Road, Dansulion, Junction, IBR Rugongan Iligan, Iligan Bukidnon Road, Rugongan Iligan City, alternate road Lanao del Norte that will be implemented by the said agency. So, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Yang. It is seconded by member Sangguniang, member Salsos, member Timorong, and member Amendment by inclusion. Any more inclusion? Hearing none, any motion for the approval of the agenda with amendment by inclusion, member Ong?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve today's agenda, Mr. Chairman, with amendments and inclusions. So, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there's a motion. Duly seconded by member Pacanya. Okay, the agenda is approved with amendment by inclusion.
Next item, the reading and approval of the journal of proceedings.
Okay, member Ong.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, move to dispense the reading and approving the journal of proceedings, the minutes of the regular session held on March 18, 2024. So move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there's a motion seconded by Councilor Salsos. The reading. Any discussion? Clarification, objection. Okay. The reading and approval of the journal proceedings for the minutes for regular session of held on March 18, 2024 is dispensed.
Next item, energy special order. The chairman of solid waste.
Member Councilor Huertas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to suspend the rules, Mr. Chair, to accommodate our resource speaker.
Okay, there's a motion to discuss by member Pananay and member Ong. Okay, we now
invite the resource speaker, Attorney Jason Aligar.
dito sa tayo, bata tayo ka ng bata tayo, mga rules suspended.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Para kayo lang, excited na kayo. Attorney Jason Aligar, our city accountant. Iligan City, the Disaster Risk Reduction Office, I think Carmina Loro is not here. OIC City Budget Officer, Miss Amilen Karampakan. The Iligan City Director, Ma'am Maria Ameda Daniel. any representative from the Legal City Disaster Risk Reduction Management Office? Si Ma'am Amilin, representative na. Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Muna sa tanan ng akong pasalamatan ng mga bisita karon sa paghahid sa oras alang sa atong ibigan. Hinayon ang legislative inquiry regarding the emergency procurement under the Committee of Civil Risk Management. Attorney Jason, Ms. Karampatan at City Budget Office, gatong kaya yung City Director Resolution. Kaya umag na itong mga ay hapon sa taranong pwede na-introduce ang itong paglingon starting now. Ay naman.
Good afternoon, Honorable Vice Mayor Almania, the esteemed members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, everyone. I'm Maria Mata Daniot, the City Director of LGU Iligan City. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, I'm Charito Muhay from the City Budget Office, representing
Good afternoon, Your Honors, the members of the State Council. I am Attorney Jason Gandhi of Garden, the acting City Accountant of Iligan, LGU.
Okay, we'll start with Ihawan ako gumagawa sa Museum as relevant questions, mga queries niya sa itong mga distinguished guests. Ang tanaw-tanaw ay tungkol sa source of funds para sa ato ang ipasa na resolution last session din ato kini-defer. It's because na walay dilit pagkayo klaro ang source of funds kung legal ba o ang mga priso. So, itawag ang mga bisita to make mo explain kung sa legal ba sa paggamit sa tuwag local disasters risk reduction management office sa funds amounting to 5,100,000 for the procurement of the aforementioned items. Mr. Chair, I would like to give people my thanks. Okay.
Anybody, any member who wants to ask question, just recognize the Councilor Jake Magalay.
Daghang salamat po, Sir Chair. Actually, ako ang nag-brought out sa aning pangutana regarding sa source of funds sa ato ang i-procure nga waste management solid waste nga mga equipments, no? Okay, because the source of fund is from disaster risk reduction nga unexpended funds. Ayun, nakabutang kay 2023 nga unexpended fund. So, nabi masa na check memorandum kung saan paggamit sa unexpended fund. Ayun, motong atong gipangutana kung sakto ba ang papaagi nato kay actually nabasa pa siguro din yun sa GMC nga before nato magamit gikan sa AIP padulong sa kani approval sa sanggunian. Then actually before sa AIP, I think kung i-usbo na to ang atong AIP, naabot ay i-agi pa po na to sa local disaster, local development council, no? Dayon ayaw pa magamit ang expended. Ang ikaduha is ang expended nato within anak katuig, dili siya magamit i-convert sa other funds o di pakabot sa lima katuig if not related to DRR. So, kana lang ako iklaro kay kamitanan, i-question nato ang 2023 unexpended accumulated gikan sa previous years nga 5 years unexpended. So, i-atras nato posible 2018 paubos, no? So, ayaw pa siya magamit kung gawa siya kung hindi siya related sa disaster. So, kana mo ang gusto klarohon and ang proper procedure sa ano paggamit sa unexpended na fund. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Ako lang din si Attorney Jason na ako yung una mong tubag para siya na mag-elaborate. Especially kay detail ko siya fiscal management. Okay. So with regards to the first question, sir, no, itong utilization nato sa itong unexpended balances sa LGU fund. Is you're referring to the JMC 2013-1 dated March 25, 2013 on imong reference, sir, no? It's I think this is very clear, no, sa 6.4, 6.5. The unexpended LGF shall accrue to a special trust fund solely for the purpose of supporting disaster risk reduction and management activities of the LGC within the next 5 years. And then subsequently, na 6.5 unexpended balances of LGF may be released and utilized for new expenditure items upon submission of a revised AIP, which mo na yung inyong kanina, sir, as approved by the local sanggunian and LCE upon recommendation of the LGC in accordance with the approved LGP. So, sakto to, sir, no? The process, katong unexpended balances nato within 5 years, magamit siya, program siya, no, sa new expenditure. And you're referring to the process na, of course, ma-emanate siya sa LGC because sila man ako identify what are those disaster-related PPSAs na kinahanglan nato. So, basically, ang LGC, naala sila gitawag na L3 FIP, yani investment programming, which is revised every year, no? Kaya according to the needs, kay although kahimong tag 3-year plan, L3 plan, gina-revise gina nato, ma-revise gina siya every year, right? According to the needs of circumstances nato, no? Arising within that year. So, i-revise ang L3 FIP, then the LGC will, endorse to the katong, especially if you're talking about the we're talking about the unexpended. Pag unexpended na need nakita kinahanglan gamiton because wala pa sa nagingon na gamiton gyud na unexpended. Pero kung gikinahanglan siya gamiton within 5 years magamit siya disaster related. So pwede siya i-reprogram. So si LGC mo naganit sa iya kung sa ang pag-identify sa mga PPSAs and then isulod na siya sa investment program and LGFIP. Then i-endorse to the LTC for revision of the AIP. Yes, then pag ma-revise ng AIP, duly approved by the LTC, endorsed to the Sanggunian and LCE for approval. So that's always the process. Dili lang na siya sa L3. I think process man siya sa tanan nato ng mga Attorney Jason, no? Process man din nato sa mga mga pag-utilize ato ang funds. So that's the so far no kanang first question mo na siya as far as the ALG is concerned mo na ang akong tubag, sir. Sa second question, second question for na kay kaduha mga point, sir.
Ikuha na mo ang related to disaster activities and program. Okay. Magamit naman siya sa maniport naman siya related sa DRR na programs or activities after 5 years na wala na ito ginamit. So, mabalik siya sa general fund. So, ikan sa trust fund na ito, ibalikin na po sa general fund. So, kung na siya ang mahitabo, so kung na sa general fund, siya siyempre, pwede na nato gamiton kung unsa. So, kanina unexpended na po nga giingon kay 2023. So, duha, it's either kung dili siya related, magamit na ba siya? Kaya wala pa may 5 years. Or kung related, banin mo ang imo nga emergency nga purchase sa DRR nga mga programs and projects. Kaya klaro man, nakabutang sa GFC nga within 5 years, pwede siya magamit DRR related mga programs and projects. Activities.
With the kind indulgence of our speaker, sir, may I just was for clarification to the question. Are you asking if whether or not unexpended balances
Pwede na ito tagsaan. Sige. Kanina unexpended balances nakabutang kay nakabutang ito din sa mga ang source of fund is 2023 unexpended. So I think si budget officer maka-clarify ani nga kaning 2023 na unexpended kung ano ni siya. Mo man accumulated niabot na siya sa 23 nga pwede na nato gamiton or sa current year din siya nga unexpended. So current year siya.
So we are referring, sir, sa 2023 unexpended balance.
Morning siya. Okay. Then sa 2023, pwede na dahil nato siya magamit ang fund.
For the start of the fiscal year 2024, sir, until 2028, related to the RRM PPEs or budgets, procurements, and activities.
So, karon identify na nato si kaning pag-procure aning equipment related na siya sa ato ang DRR programs and projects.
The executive branch is of view that the procurement of these equipments are related to the projects PPAs of the RRM.
Okay, sige, okay. Wala mo ganda na. Anyway, so kaning ato mo gagawin session na mo, nakauntay authority to the mayor no ihatag na mo ang sign of contract kay na. Pero anak ko nga wala pa ko kay nundong nga naay procedure nga atong diskutan mo change me i-revise na mo AIP ngayon i-hagatag o endorsement sa local local development council na mo para i-approve ang AIP before nato i-release or gamiton ang kwarta. So anak ko nga murag dili pa sakto kay dili diretso na mo magamit hantod nga dili nato sundon ang procedure sa pagpagawa sa kwarta. Katora sir.
Thank you for that, sir. I would just like to comment on, or to make a rejoinder with what our Executive Director has said. We are referring to Section 6.5 of JMC 2013-01. And it states, and I quote, that expended balances of the LDRRMF may be released and utilized, with emphasis of the word may be released, and utilized for new expenditure items upon submission of a revised AIP as approved by the local Sangguniang and the local Chief Executive upon recommendation of the LDRRMC in accordance with approved DRRM plan. I wish to emphasize that it uses the word release, and it must, in my opinion, it must be used in its ordinary parlance. When we say about release, then that refers to disbursement of funds. So basically, sir, yes, I would agree that everything must come with a plan. And I think and I believe that the endorsement from our good mayor is tantamount to requesting from this honorable body for an approval of the plan to procure disaster-related equipments. And I think there is no question of whether or not which should preside first, whether there must be which procedure must come first, so long as the requirement under section 6.5 is attained, where the unexpended balances of LDRMF may be released. So basically, what our good mayor is requesting is just a plan, an authority from this honorable body to procure this disaster-related equipment.
Actually, authority is to sign sa contract. Kaya humana ang meeting.
I wish to be clarified, sir, that the reason why the BAC refused to process the procurement is because it needs an approval yet from the DRRM. So basically, the request is not to sign the contract, but a request for the approval of plan to procure this DRRM-related equipment.
Akong klaro na, apil sa mong agenda, unang akong question. So if kato nga request to procure, siyempre, mo follow na dayon to procedure unsaon, pero ang among i-approve unta atong niagi ko na kontrata na na siya bidding. So i-release na ang kwarta mana akong mo pasabot. So mo tong i-question ako ang procedure sa ato pa pwede na mo karon klaro na sa akong mga kauban nga insakto man to nga kung ang mayor mag-request nga atong gamiton unta moagi pa sa atong pamaagi unsaon pag-release, wala man nato kita nga dili pwede i-release. Ang ako ang question is wala ko kahinumdum kanilang ang akong gitanaw nga naami gi-revise nga AIP. So sa ato pa naami gi-shortcut nga pamaagi. Mo nag-ana ko nga mo nagipatawag mo namo if i-approve na ba ito na mo, sa ato pa kung mapirmahan to, i-authorize na naman si Mayor nga mapirma sa kontrata, i-release na yun ang kwarta. Nga wala pa may anggi, anang pag, kuha na mo, usap sa AIP o katong other procedures. So, I think, klaro na, siguro, magkutanan na ba, dayon from here, pwede na nato na siya, amo ang, saan na among i-correct sa procedure before na mo i-authorize sa mayor na magpapalama sa kontrata. Kaya human naman ang hindi. Actually naman ang hindi. Unsigned PO. So, kala ang ako ang i-question ko. Dili nga. At siya ang procedure sa mag-release. Dili. Kasi procedure nga ato ang giunan na matana si ma'am si Attorney. So, ang procedure kay tungod sa source of fund nato. Kaya kung general fund pa na siya, automatic na siya. Lahat ng appropriated na mga sinaan sa ano. So, kung malino na to, i-revert na to, gamitin na to sa lahat ng mahal ay proper procedure.
Yes, sir, with your kind indulgence, sir, may I request for a particularity on whether or not there was in fact EPO, because as far as we know, sir, as far as my office know, the BAC refused, the Bids and Awards Committee refused to process the procurement in the absence of this revised plan.
I don't know if pagka-provide ba si Secretary sa ato ang if katong previous na to session mapakita na to kay Attorney, actually gumana ang meeting hour 10 na siya. Ano siya back resolution, Attorney?
Okay. 3 minutes recess.
Okay, before we resume, I would like to recognize the presence of Ma'am Amelia Amituan, the principal of MSU IIT IDS. Ma'am, thank you for your presence. Tumpakan. Okay, session resume.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think siguro na ay istorya si attorney. Kasi
Attorney Jason.
With the kind indulgence of the members of the Sangguniang Council, I would like to thank first for giving me a copy or furnishing a copy of the endorsement of our city mayor. We were not, the office have not been appraised that there was already a back resolution. Perhaps the main reason is because of the urgency to procure and this equipment because of the pressing concern on our environmental losses such as this garbage. And that caused by these hazards like as mentioned in this resolution, the present problem on our garbage. But perhaps to enlighten the body, the procedural process, the procedural aspect of the procurement process would be there must be first a plan, and then from that plan that should have been subjected for the budget deliberation, a budget furnishing the budget for that plan, and then the bid procurement would then proceed. In this case, if indeed there was a failure of the DRRM Council to provide a supplemental DRRM plan for the STF of 2023, I think there must be first procurement or furnishment of such plan prior to the release of these funds. Nonetheless, if these plans have been already crafted, it is my opinion that this would no longer require another authority from this honorable body for the procurement of this equipment. Perhaps because it was already stated in the plan, which will soon be approved if indeed there was a failure of the DRRM to furnish that plan. There would be no longer another endorsement of such contract, basically because it was already included in the plan.
So, ang mahitaboan ni attorney, maklaro, medyo ni-shortcut me, no, na nauna ang ganing ito ang process sa procurement. So, imuhang remedies, dapat mabalik kita dito sa plan, i-submit i-process na to, aron ma-change na to. Ang plan galingon is plan to procure na appeal siya. Then, i-change na mo ang AIP. Pag ma-approve na mo ang AIP, tungkol kay approve na ang AIP na nabutang na dito specifically para aning ato ang pag-procure aning ng mga equipment sa imong ingon, dili na kinahanglan na dayon another authority for the mayor na mo sign siya na contract. So, still, amo sa buhaton, karon ibalik na to na dito sa LDRR ang office dayon i-process na to ang mag-change, no? Mag-change sa AIP para ma-release na to, na magamit na to ng kwarta. Sakto ba ko, attorney? So, wala to na mo pabalik din ilahang endorsement para pa-approve sa AIP. Manay buhato na mo, attorney. So, sa ito pa, you would suggest nga, i-defer sa namo na siya.
Actually, sir, because of the urgency of this matter, I would not suggest that to return. Perhaps because we have this concept of supplemental annual investment plan or supplemental DRM plan. When we say supplemental, we are not really talking of revising everything that has been approved in the 2023. So it's just a matter of analyzing whether or not, or to construal of the endorsement coming from the mayor that what was requested is actually not to sign the contract, but actually a request for the approval to procure such kind of equipment.
Lagi. So, kato ang mulaton. So, kana, dili na mo na aksyonan. Kaya kung pasabot, ako iklaro kay Ragnar, libo na ngumuban. Kung sa may buhaton na mo karon, amo nang i-authorize na si Mayor, nga procurement, or katong imong ingon nga, amo hulaton, ay authorize na, ay approve na mo ang katong revised AIP. Dahil if ma-approve na mo itong revised AIP, dili na necessary na makahin pa siya authority para i-sign. Kaya klaro naman dito sa plano nga nanay budget nga specific para anak na procurement. So, i-approve naman na mo, dili na kinanglan, i-approve na authority nga ipahayan.
Okay.
At sa may plano ito, attorney.
Again, sir, deferring this matter would make a great impact sa ato ang community. Again, I would like to request for or I beg the indulgence of this body not to understand in layman's term what was requested or what was endorsed by the mayor, and that is to sign the contract. I am appealing to this body that we should construe the endorsement from the mayor of the authority to procure such that we should understand or we should conceptualize how the process should be. Just like as we have understood, there must be a plan first that needs to be approved. And in such case, the endorsement, I'm appealing to this body again, that we should understand we should construe the endorsement as a request for an approval of the plan to procure that equipment and not request for the approval to sign the contract with the supplier.
Okay, Member Salsos, you are recognized.
My question is this. The one that has been discussed is actually through a regular bidding process. Now, what we're talking here is the negotiated contract to emergency purchase. May I ask, are these the procedure for a negotiated contract with emergency purchase different from that of the same regular procurement process as in RA 924?
Correct, ma'am. There's a huge difference between the general procurement process, which is the general bidding, as compared to the alternative modalities of procurement.
And what we're actually talking here is the alternative mode, right?
Correct.
So what has been discussed rather is the regular bidding sa 924. Ang ako ang concern din sa atong agenda actually is the alternative mode, which is the negotiated contract through emergency purchase. So the procedure is actually different. Ano na siya? And katong sa source of funds natin, gusto lang namin pasabot. Ma-revert na siya sa general fund 5 years prior. So that makes 2018 na balances, unexpended balances. But from 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, ang unexpended balances na nasa green fund, actually na siya sa special fund. Ang purpose ana is still green. Right? So magamit na siya for green purposes or green-related purposes ng mga project. So, klaro ka ana. Dili na siguro ang istoryahan o kailangan mo na istoryahan kung galing mag-purchase na ko aning mga bio-compost machine or machines for the garbage problem, kinahanglan ko kuwakon sa LDRM. I think, more or less basically, klaro naman din ha. gusto natong ipasabot na during magod sa mga discussion, muagi lang ta og negotiated contract for emergency purchase under 3 conditions. Ito, first na condition is kanang first condition natin imminent danger to life or property during a state of calamity. Second condition, when time is of the essence, arising from natural or man-made calamities. Third condition is other causes where immediate action is necessary to prevent damage to loss of life or property, or to restore vital public services, infrastructure, facilities, and other public utilities. So, basahan nato ang atong Solid Waste Management Board resolution na nagkakaroon sa imong mga I-think Attorney CPA Jason John. Rate na nag-call sa number 3. Anong ato may gibuhat sa naging kita imbita ko nga tuloy na kahit na itong negotiated procurement under emergency cases ni ako na tag-April. Ang emergency na ako actually, kung nato minakunaon, na nag-push na nato ni December, January 2024. Tumod atong cease and desist order nagikan sa DNR. Tumod sa atong basura. Sa Tuesday, atong nga time, negotiated contract for emergency purchase ng tatak, diretsyo na ang dayo kung naklaro na nato ang procedural process. Kung tumod manggod, kaya careful kayo ta, makatulog ta, ang emergency state na inaami na nauntan mga naanak na ani ng mga equipo, wala nyo na po na-delay, ang tulong kapadayon ng atong problema, tumod ani ang mga papeles, which is tragically maupinay usa sa mga dapat na itong i-improve mga maida sa atong gobyerno. Emergency galing na siya, inahanglaman na dayon, dili mapalit tungod sa mga papeles. Naanapot na karoon na rin. Dili mapalit tungod sa mga papeles. Procedural. O naging maklaro na ako attorney Jason dyan, kay kung being a lawyer and a CPA, kaya na kanina, no, as a city accountant, kaya procedural process, mo nabigay ituhan. So nakita na ko din ang first requirement sa negotiated contract for emergency purchase is kung makabuo ba siya at itong mga conditions. And I think, for my opinion, sa ako pa mga kauban direct, ko lang namin yung attorney Bong, sulod siya ay number 3. No? Unhang lang ang tamang palit tungkol sa problema sa buang basura. Nagkahapon lang, inatong ko sa populasyon, naluhay ko dito sa ilang, magsulod pa lang na ako sa jeep. Grabe kadaghan sa mga langaw. Grabe kabaho. No? Pagkato na ito dito. So, grabe yun, ongoing ang atong problema sa basura. Next akong pangutana, kaya nakita mo nato today, we're talking about VIP. Kung basahon nato about negotiated contract for emergency purchase, it's only talking about the APP. No? Basahan ko rin, to simplify the process, to allow the end user or any other appropriate bureau, committee, support, or procuring unit, and in this case, the SWMP, or the LDRRM, to recommend to the head of procuring entity, which is the home, any revision on the APP. That will be resorting to negotiated procurement of emergency cases subject to the validation by the appropriate office in the procuring entity. That is, tinangan akong accounting, tinangan ko na ito ang budget. Papuntaan na ako ani, no? Simple naman din. SWMP, mayroon siya, maayos sa documentation, recommend siya, naay mga changes ay AIP, if galing ako na pangayoon, mga equipo wala nabutang sa atong APP. Kanto ba po, attorney Jason dyan? Karoon, kung wala siya nabutang sa APP, ang buhaton lang sa SWMP is mag-recommend siya sa mayor nga i-revise na itong atong APP para atong pangayoon ng mga bagong equipment for the garbage problem. As long as ma-validate sa accounting or sa budget na naatay funds availability. Kung tanggalin dito, thus the Bids and Awards Committee need not be the one to recommend the revision of the EPP. Kung pwede, SWM yan. So, kung ano po pumunta na kabon, kahit ba, nakabatay pundo para aning pagpalit na ito aning mga ipilo.
Yes, ma'am, there is a fund. And that would be coming from the ERRM 2023 Special Trust Fund.
So, special trust fund. Green related lang hapon siya.
Correct, ma'am.
Haong lang hapon siya din ha.
Correct, ma'am.
So, naabatay document na mahatag ka, Attorney Jason Chan, to the effect na certifying that we have funds availability as to the equipment that is requested by the SWMP.
Yes, ma'am. We can issue a certificate of availability of funds for this fund.
Okay. So, namamod si Tinato, Ma'am Maida, ang procedure ba sa regular bidding under 9184 and also under 9184 for alternative modes of procurement, and in this case, we are talking about negotiated contract through emergency purchase, kahit ba siya?
Okay. Attorney, I'm so sorry, no, because it's not our expertise when we talk about the RA 9184. So, I think I'm the right authority to speak about the bidding process. I think mas si Attorney Jason, si Hannah na matter, Attorney.
Thank you, Ma'am Waka. Attorney Jason dyan. Kahit ba ang procedure?
Yes, ma'am. There's a big difference. One basic example is the time. The minimum days required for competitive bidding runs between 30 to 90 days. When we proceed with emergency procurement, it must be processed just within 3 days, supposedly.
So, sa pagtanaw yung mga documents ka doon na tinatag niyo, haong ba siya sa ato ang giingon na negotiated contract to emergency purchase?
I believe so, ma'am. With the requirement of the conditions for the emergency procurement, which is times of essence, and the possible loss of life as a result of this health hazard, I believe, ma'am, that emergency procurement, so negotiated procurement, emergency procurement is the proper remedy in the procurement for this equipment.
Considering na naanatay si Synthesis from DNR, nagpapugama tamas ay panglabay, matulog. Thank you very much sa inyo ha, Attorney Jason John, Mamay again.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Betsy Salsos. Back to Councilor Huertas. Councilor Bob Mapagan.
Attorney Jason, kumalik na tayo alam ko kung na lang because time is of the essence, urgency, emergency. Ako kung na kapatay landfill ka rin.
There's none, sir.
Di ba na-address
Yes,
ito?
what I mean is that since the process of the solid waste management was not properly done, then that caused the closure of this dump site. And so we are required it was suggested to look for another landfill where we can dump our garbages. Or perhaps look for another ways to lessen the risks involved, particularly on health hazards on the existing dump site we have.
So therefore, because of that alleged order prohibiting the operation of that landfill, it became legally impossible to open the same.
Correct, sir.
Since it is legally impossible. The possible thing is to acquire the property to make it downside. Am I right?
is one alternative solution, sir. To look for a dump site or to look for other ways also. The executive branch have been sorting into many ways. One of which is the looking for a dump site or a landfill. Second is resort to energy saving ways, just like what we have in first world countries in how they manage their solid waste. But that is still subject for discussion.
So, as far as you're concerned and your knowledge, there is no such downside plan already selected by the city government.
Correct, sir, because of the huge amount it would entail.
So, if that is the case, that is why you concluded that there is indeed urgency.
Correct, sir.
And since that urgency, would you please, considering that we're talking about here calamity, because this is taken from the calamity fund, relief fund. Now, when we talk about calamity, can you describe to us what supports that statement that would justify this predicament of having that urgency, and there is indeed we can use that relief fund?
I beg to take the indulgence of this body if I would read the provisions under RA 10121.
Nasa tayo indulgence na
Section 1 of RA 10121, paragraph 8, defines disaster as a serious disruption of the functioning of a community or a society involving widespread human, material, economic, or environmental losses and impacts which exceeds the ability of the affected community or society to cope using its own resources. Disasters are often described as a result of the combination of exposures to a hazard and the conditions of the vulnerability of the community. Paragraph V also defines hazard as a dangerous phenomenon, substance or human activity or condition that may cause loss of life, injury, or other health impacts, property damage, loss of livelihood and services, social and economic disruption, or environmental damage. So, within this context, we can say, or we can conclude, that disasters or calamity does not only entail natural causes, but also include human-induced disasters.
Thank you very much for very enlightening definition of a lengthy and elementary definition that will give us a clear picture. Now, I will be the one to ask for indulgence. Will you please apply that definition to the garbage problem in Iligan?
I think it's very apparent in the provisions of RA 10121 that it speaks about calamity, among others, includes environmental losses. So the existing problem we have is that many of our community, especially those located near downside, are already having health problems as a result of this failure of the government of the closure of this downside. So that would already constitute as a disaster because it affects the vulnerable people located in that area. Second, it causes health hazards to those who are residing in that area as well as the other constituents of Iligan if we continue to still fail to act on this pressing problem.
So, in short, that is what we call a disaster.
Correct, sir.
So, if that is a disaster, so disaster is production fund. So that falls in that definition.
Correct, sir.
Now, in that fund, there is an allocation of quick response as well as the preparedness. Now, this is 30% and 70% respectively. Now, in this particular purchase or procurement, negotiated procurement, are you going to apply that to quick response? Yes, no?
No, sir.
How about preparedness?
Yes, sir. That would be applicable.
Because I can recall the last administration, we had a discussion on how to purchase dump trucks to carry the garbage from city proper to Bulbulon. And in fact, I stood up and questioned that garbage is not a disaster or calamity because it can be seen. When you talk about, because I have a limited definition of that calamity and disaster, for me, there are only two things that can be considered calamity. Those or disasters that could absolve you from any obligation. One is tortidos event, second is force majeure. When you think about tortidos event, it is the act of God. Like flooding, linog, simbakula, typhoon. When you say force majeure that is a group of people forcing an act that will cause a disaster. Now, considering the time that this garbage, to my limited opinion, was only, it does not fall within the two. So, I abstain. But when I read, considering that this is part of the equipment to be purchased for preparedness of any disaster to come, I was convinced. That's why I'm convinced by your explanation about disaster and where to get the fund and what is the particular source. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilor Abragan and and also Attorney Jason. Any more questions? Okay, Councilor Del Monte.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we're talking here and actually, taas na kaya natin kumanta. I get the point of Councilor Jake Panay because no one is really questioning if it's a negotiated or it's the purpose of why we're buying this. Ang ano lang, attorney, wala din siya sa appeal sa naka-itemized. Mura siya shortcut na to. Kaya wala na siya na-appeal sa atong AIP. What I think, ako pasabot, what our other colleagues want is that we will approve this because wala yung question ng hari. Pero wala to na mo ang AIP nag-approve ng bago para naana dito. That's why it will also be itawag ni Councilor Christian, safety net sa amo nga wala yung shortcut, no? Wala yung proseso pinalitarin, wala yung proseso na ginagtawag. Sakto ang proseso. That is all. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Del Monte. Any more?
Okay, if I could clarify, Madam Chair. Yes, that is correct. That the procurement of this equipment was not included in the BRR plan for 2024. However, that is the main reason why there was this endorsement. Because the STF, the 2023, are still to be subject for programming. And that is what the mayor is asking from this honorable body. Our good mayor is requesting for requesting for the approval of this land, of this STF, to be used in the procurement, and not really requesting from this honorable body to sign the contract. So it is as if it's supplemental AIP.
Okay, Member Councilor Singh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Isa lang siguro, attorney, say, kung suggest na umusay best na pamaagi, we understand the urgency, no? It's a best na pamaagi, na procedure, na pwede nato na siya magamit. So now, you're requesting the body na i-approve nato ang request of the mayor, but actually, ang request from the mayor is to sign the contract, an authority to sign the contract already. So, is it, pwede ba may mga another endorsement from the mayor that kanang imong statement karon, murag kumbaga magpatuto na lang ni attorney on kung sa mga pamaagi, penalty na mapadali na because we know that urgent na siya. So, kung gusto ka request from the mayor na i-approve na to maybe ka na siguro ang pangayuon na request na ma-endorse SP or ma-approve na mo.
Noted, ma'am. I will request from our good mayor. Just a clarification, so that it would not be an impression that it's not the first time that this body makes an approval of an authority na wala sa EIP. I hope that you remember when you approved the procurement plan for the 15% OBO fund. The OBO fund, the procurement of vehicle coming from the 15% OBO fund should have also, or should likewise be included in the annual investment plan. But this body has approved the plan to procure an OBO. There was no language there that states revision of an AIP to include the procurement of vehicle from the OBO fund. Instead, what this honorable body approved was the approval of the plan to procure the vehicle sourcing from the 15% OBO fund. And that was, as far as I believe, an interpretation or a construal that indeed there was a supplemental revision of the annual investment plan.
Okay, Member Organ.
As clearly stated by Councilor Princess Alsos, that this particular chismis, kasi ikaw ang nag-ikot yung nalilasa ko yung ikot. So, diba, a good leader is a good listener. Asa ka na niya?
Ganda ito kasi para po.
Under this rule, negotiated procurement under emergency cases. Number 2, to simplify the process, allow the end user unit or any other appropriate bureau, committee, support of procuring unit to recommend, I would like to emphasize, to recommend to the head of the procuring entity, or headed by the mayor, to recommend what is to be recommended, to recommend any revision of the annual procurement plan to cover the procurement project that will be resorting to a negotiated procurement or emergency cases. In this case, considering that this is an emergency, that annual investment plan can be revised by the mayor and approved by the mayor alone. And it will not come to this body in order to approve that as being a supplemental. It is a revision, not a supplemental. Supplemental is an additional. Revision is just an inclusion. This is what I understand to the discussion of Attorney Santos. Therefore, I agree that we will give the authority to the mayor to sign, provided and subject to the recommendation of the end user, to the hope for the revision of the IAP and other existing and applicable auditing and assisting law. And I think that would cover the sentiment. Instead of waiting for another round, another week, what will happen to us? As you said, there are already illness appearing now. That is my stand.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Wong Apagan. Councilor Santos.
So, klaro lang po. Nakibisulti kayo yung na inaatay mga revisions. Given naman gusto siya dito, diba? We're talking about the equipments for the home, right? Kanina kinahanglan, okay. Integrated naman gusto siya dito. So, unang inunta, gusto ko taani, gusto ko I concur with my cousin, Attorney Wong Apagan, na ako na po nimi-differ, wala nang emergency kasi grabe na kaayon ang ginabukta. Kung nang-ingon si Attorney Wong Apagan, actually, ako maningin discussan nga tapos na to subject na kaning mga say recommendation coming from the SWMP, no, and validation na kung sa itong magaling as a certification na naatay funds availability, provided that all of those things provided that all of those necessary documents will be submitted. Anyway, kung agi magkaya na sa inyo ha, kaya ikaw ba nung pirma? Di ba nababayaran kung di na mo agong lagi siya? Kung naninong na, okay naman, para dili na ma-delay, kaya grabe na kayo ang delay. Ang 6 and 6 na to, 2023 pa, 2024 pa, January 2024. So nakaroon, April na. We should not delay when the public interest and public health of the people, no? Ila naman is already, di ka naman sana. Kuyawa na taba, anatas anang na-explain. So, pwede man nato na siguro, I would like my mga kauban ako, padayon na nato na, i-approve nato na, provided, yung katong recommendation from the SWMP, yung recommend ng mayor, nga ay revision sa ato ang APP, Annual Procurement Plan. Kaya, ang amount na naman na siya. Diba? The amount is, tama ba ito? Budget? The amount is there. Wala changes sa amount. Ang na-change lang ang mga particulars. Tama? Ang particularity lang ang mukhang ko. Particulars, kung sa ba siya, ang klase, ang kind. But the amount of our paid APP is still the same. Hindi na ito na pwede kupupun. And then, pagkatapos sana, kung nag-iingon, validated as to the availability of funds from the accountant or from the budget officer and approved. The recommendation is approved by the city mayor or the head of the procuring entity. Ito siya. I hope manasabtan.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Santos. Okay, back to the chairman.
Thank you very much. Since my colleagues, wala na yung mga question. Since nagkasapot naman moderate yung kulang, we're thanking our visitors. Ma'am Aida, Ma'am Cha, Attorney Jason, Pamilya. Salamat kayo sa enlightenment kayo ng biyata. Dagang kayo salamat.
Thank you, Maida. Attorney Jason and